Hello, Jethro here. I've decided to do a series on the story of the Bible. So my hope is over the next wee while, I do a series of videos talking about the whole story of Scripture, right from the beginning to the end, and how it all fits together. And what really inspired me to get into the whole story of the Bible is this little episode in Luke chapter 24, where there's two disciples wandering along the road from Jerusalem to Emmaus. And they have just gone through the horrific, tragic events of Christ's arrest and torture and crucifixion. And they've been following him for quite some time, and they've just witnessed all of this, and they've decided to get out of Jerusalem, and they're walking along the road, and the resurrected Jesus sidles up beside them. But they don't recognize him. They don't recognize who he is. And he overhears what they're talking about, and he asks them, what's all this you're talking about? And they say, haven't you heard about this Jesus guy? He was a great prophet, a great leader, a great teacher. We thought maybe he was going to fulfill the prophecies of a Messiah, but then he was arrested and killed. How could you not have heard about all of this? And Jesus kind of says, oh, you guys have totally missed it, haven't you? And then for the rest of the journey, he explains to them how the story of the Bible, the stories of the Scripture, all lead to him. Now, when I read that story, the first thing, as a young disciple, as I read that story as a young disciple, the first thing that I thought was, what is he talking about? The Scriptures are this one story, and it all talks about Jesus. I'd only ever read this little snatch of Old Testament here, or read that psalm there, or heard a little bit of teaching on that prophecy over here, and I didn't really know what Jesus was talking about. And so as I grew as a disciple and I got to do some studies and all that kind of thing, I learned that the whole of the Bible, the whole of Scripture, is one big story, and it all hangs together. So there's lots of different books in the Bible, 66 books. There's lots of different genres. So you've got poetry and prayers and songs in there. You've got amazing stories, historical stories, kind of poetic, apocryphal tales. You've got legal legislation. You've got how-to manuals on temple worship. You've got letters written to various people. And even though there's all these different books with all these different genres, they do actually tell one big, long story. And so it's my hope over the next wee while to delve into these stories. And one thing I'll say about this story to begin with is it is a love story. It's a love story. It's a story of a God who loves his people, who loves his creation, and he'll do anything to show them how much he loves them. So do tune in, and I look forward to seeing more of you as we go through the story of the Bible together. Thanks a lot.